Hello, everybody. This is Rick, and welcome to a special edition of Astral Club. This is Rick, and if you recall from my last video, I promised I would update you if I got that sign that the angel slash guide slash whatever you want to call them promised, which would be my warning if I was going to be in danger from this current situation that's happening, and that I would have then 24 hours or so to change my life path to avoid this situation. And he said that I should look for a sign in the sky, and that when I saw it, I would recognize it. So I was driving to work Monday morning. And to say I was distracted is probably an understatement. Half the time my eyes were on the road, and half the time my eyes were glancing up in the sky, waiting for something. I don't know. And then suddenly I found myself gaining quite rapidly on a van that was in my way. And of course, I was, a little bit irritated because now I have to deal with this thing, and I have to take my eyes off the sky and go around this thing. So I got into the left lane and started getting ready to pass this van. And as I became level with it, I saw that it had a custom paint job on the side. That custom paint job was of a beautiful azure sky. And there was a message on the side of that van inside the sky. And it said, "Live every day like it was your last." It took me a second for it to register, and I just had to break out laughing because that's my sign, and that's my sense of humor too. I don't know if I'm rubbing off on them or what, but that was my sign in the sky. So I went to work. I had laid out a business trip, as well as other business trip plans that I had made, because that's a big part of my job. I went into my boss's office and asked for a meeting. And I told him that in view of the current situation, that I believed it was no longer wise for me to be on the road and traveling. And that I would still, do everything I could to make sure my sales department achieved and overachieved its sales goals, but that I no longer thought it was wise to travel and to put my health at risk that way. We had a discussion for a while, and eventually he agreed with me. So until this current situation is over and resolves itself, I will not be traveling. So I like to think that perhaps that was a change for the better. That might put me on a different path. I also found myself, though, devoting more time to research on this current bug, if you will. And I found out a number of different information, and when I found it out, it was before it hit the news, and you may have heard of it now, but it was new when I read it. There's this small French study that was done with a small number of patients using two different drugs that have shown extreme promise with this current problem that we have. I did some investigations, and I consulted with my daughter, who is a physician's assistant. But on my own decision, I went ahead and I made some decisions. Now, I'm going to include in the description the article that I saw. And you can read it if you're interested and draw your own conclusions. One thing I can add here for those who have pets, like pet fish or pet birds. You may or may not know, but labs don't normally develop drugs to treat illnesses specifically for fish or specifically for birds, or even for that matter, cats and dogs. Generally what happens is they develop medicines to treat various illnesses in humans. And then they just so happen to work in animals. Now, luckily, we have vets who you can take your cat and dog to, and they could give you proper prescriptions for your animals. But unfortunately, pets, which people still love, like fish and birds, don't always have that luxury. So luckily, there are substances that you can buy in pet stores that you can then treat your fish or your bird yourself and to keep them healthy. So I was thinking for people out there who love animals and who are worried that perhaps this situation might end up evolving in such a way that it would affect their fish or might affect their birds, because they're also living organisms and we also treasure them, that perhaps, if for nothing else, you might read this article and have some information that might save the life of your fish and your birds. Okay, that is my little special announcement. I wanted to get it out there because I had promised you that I would. There will be a regularly scheduled Saturday video, so don't worry about that. It's going to be on astral scams and cults, and it's going to be infused with humor, because I think we need that now. There's been a lot of very serious podcasts and videos recently, and so I'm going to inject a little bit of humor, and hopefully that'll keep things a little bit lighter, as well as offer useful information that'll help us not to get ripped off in the future as we proceed in our goals to become better and better astral projectors. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this short one. If you did, hit the like button, share it with anybody who you think might be interested. And if you have any questions and comments, you can certainly feel free to leave those. As I said, I will leave a link to that article that I thought was interesting in the description. Well, everyone, as always, I will see you on Saturday, but I'll also see you on the astral plane. Bye-bye now.